everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel of Floxus, and here we are with the fourth part of Python Bootcamp course. So today we are going to see about strings and numbers. We are going to see how to declare string, how to like what are the different operations in strings that we can do. Then we are going to see about numbers. So let's start with strings. Okay. So strings in Python are surrounded by either single quotation marks or double quotation marks. Now it's simply like a collection of characters. Okay. Like here you can see we are assigning the value to a variable and this is a string type. Okay. You can either declare it by double quotes. Okay. Surrounded by double quotes or single quotes. So it's the same in Python. Okay, and then you can print this is the simple declaration of string. So yeah, that's how we declare strings. Okay, so okay, and also for multi-line strings, like suppose I need to print this line. Okay, I need to print this. So for that you can use triple quotes. Okay, you can use three quotes. Okay, three single quotes and this will work. Okay, so you can use this and you can check it. Okay, we are going to, although we are going to code it, so don't worry about it. So this is how you can use it. Like here you can see. Okay, like here if I want to declare a multi-line string, simple, here I need to have three single quotes. Okay, so that's how it will work. Okay, so next we are going to see about, yeah, so how we can access the element of string. Okay, how we can suppose I have a string that is, suppose, floxes. Okay, this is my string. Now I need to access the elements of this string. Okay, so it's very simple. In a string, like in a string, it can be used like an array, or if you don't know what is an array, don't worry. It's simple that we can there is a index. Okay, there is an index by which we can access the elements, like starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And also in reverse way, in like in opposite direction, we can start like this: -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. This is very important point. You should remember this very important part. So like suppose if I have this a equal to single quotes floxes. Now I want to print this character. Okay, I want only o part. Okay, okay, so what I can write? I can write A and then I can write 2. Okay. So it will print, like if I write print A2, then it will print O. Okay. And also, if you want to write the index in reverse way or in opposite direction, then that will be, this will be same like A -4. So this is very important. Okay, sometimes to access the last value, I don't know what is the size of this string. Okay, suppose I don't know what is the size of this string and I want to print the last character. Okay, so what I can do, it's very simple. You don't need to have the idea of what is the size of this string. You can just simply write A -1 and it will print the last character. Okay, now I hope it is clear to you all how we can do the indexing part and like uh, how you can access the elements. Okay, it is very simple and you can easily access this. Okay, so here is one example. Here you can see a equal to hello world. Okay, and one more point is there, that is this space, wait a second, this space is also considered as, or it is also having some index. Okay, this will also be counted. You can also find the length of this string and it will include this as one character. Okay, if there is one space, then that will be included as one character. Okay, this is very important point. You should remember this. And yeah, here you can see how I'm like printing what will be the value. You need to comment out your answer. Just comment your answer in the comment box, that what will be the output of this statement. Okay, what will be the output of A1? So you can see how we are, how we are printing this A1. Just remember the indexing starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This comma is also one character. Okay, so remember that comma as well as space, that will be considered. Okay, so yeah, coming to next slide. Yeah. So strings in Python works like an array, as I have already explained. So we can also have loops, or we can access the elements, or we can print the values of this word. Okay, like we do in any other sequence. Okay, like we can iterate through each element. Now, what do we do by the help of for loop? We can print the elements. Yes. So what I am doing here, by the help of for loop, I'm using this to print each character. Okay, each character of this string. Okay, this is a string, and what I am doing, I'm accessing each values. Okay, like this is the like suppose this is a string, and what I am doing, I'm iterating. This x will have, first it will have f as the value, then it will have l, then it will have o. So yeah, so this must be clear to you all. So what will happen, what will be the output? It will print f, l, o, x, u, s. Okay, so this is how it will work. Fine. So next, to get the length of a string. Now, as I have already explained, that we can use this to get the length. Okay, so now what is the function to get the length of the string? Len function. Okay, you can just simply write len, and whatever the variable that is storing the string, that is a equal to hello world is there. Okay, now this is the string, and it has been stored in what? It has been stored in a. Okay, now what I will do, I have just written print and then len a. Now what will be the output? Just count the number of characters that is there in this string, and that will be the output. So here you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you can see this. Okay, if there is no space here, then it will be only 13. If there is a space, then you can see. Okay, just check out, explore more, you will understand how it is working. Okay, so there are different operations that we can do with strings. So we are going to see about each and every one of it. First is slicing, then updating, concatenation, repetition, membership, and reverse. So we are going to code it. So don't worry about the coding part. We are going to see about it also. And first of all, let's just see what is this operation all about. Okay, what is, why we are doing this. Okay, now suppose I have a string. Okay, suppose let's just take the example. Okay, okay, I have a string. Suppose I have a string Fluxus. Okay, now what I want, I just want this part. Okay, I just want these part to be printed, only oxu. Okay, I don't want the whole string to be printed. I just want this range, this part of value. Okay, so what I can do, the operation slicing will be done. Okay, slicing will help us to just print this value. Okay, string and then range. Okay, this will work. Okay, now range will work like what will be the format of the range. So basically it will use indexing. Okay, so like I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now what I will do, like I want o, x, and u. Okay, so my range will start from 2, and we know that the outer value or the boundary value is not included in the range function. Okay, or in range. Okay, so what I will do, I will write 5, so that till fourth index it will be covered. That means it simply means that this range means that we will include 2, 3 and fourth index. Okay, so what will be the output? You will have to write whatever the string name is. Suppose a equal to this. Okay, I have a equal to this. So what I will write? A and then this. You will print this. You will get OXU as the output. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you all. Okay, next we are going to see about updating. Now what does that mean? Now suppose I have a string, and that I need to update the value, or I need to update some yeah, I need to update a specific range of value with some other value. So what I can do, I can use this updating part, which will work like, it will first we need to declare the range, like the same way like we did in slicing. We need to have the we will first find the range where we need to update, and then this plus abc, so it will work for updation. Okay, so by this what will happen, whatever the range is given, okay, so after that this value will be added there. Okay, so we are going to see about it. Okay, so now we are going to see about concatenation. Now, concatenation is used for adding two strings. Okay, suppose I have one variable that is string type, and it is suppose Python, and I have another string that is best. Okay, I have another variable that is best, and if I will print a plus b, then simply it will be like this: Python and then best. This will be printed. You can check it out. Okay, we are going to code it, so don't worry about it. So yeah, now that's what the function of concatenation is. What is the purpose of concatenation? Now next is repetition. Now suppose I have a string that is suppose floxes, and I want to print this 100 times, suppose. So you can't write like this. Na? It is not possible to write print a, print a, print a 100 times. It is very like, it will be very difficult for you. So what you can do, you can just simply write, it works like a mathematical operation, any mathematical operation, just the same way. Can write simply a into 100, and it will simply works like this: floxes, then floxes, and it will simply works like that. Okay, simply work like that. So here you can see the syntax is string, whatever the string one is, and then into n, whatever the number of times you want this string to repeat. Okay, next is membership. We have also seen this operation in arithmetic, like in the operator part, where there was a membership operator which used to check whether some value, any value is there in that specific list or tuple or set. Okay, any sequence. Okay, so membership is usually these two were only the functions or the values that used to check whether that is there or not. Like in for also, what we do, for x in, and then we define the range. Okay, so what we do, we just check whether this x value, like here what were doing, we were used to like we used to work this, or we used to use this as iterator. Okay, but if I use like this, if x in, and then if I define some list, or you can say a range. Okay, suppose I have a range. Okay, 1 to 5. Okay, so then what you can do, now what does this will return, what will it return? It will return true or false kind of value. If this x value, whatever the value of x is, suppose it is 2, so it will return true, because in this range 2 is there. Okay, so that's what membership operator is. For string also we can check for each character, like suppose if I have x is equal to s. Okay, this is a string, and I have a string that is suppose floxes. Okay, I have a string Floxus and I need to check whether this X, that is S, okay, S a character, is there in this string or not. So you can check like that, okay. So don't worry, we are going to code it. So there you will be having more clear idea what is happening. Okay, so now we are going to see about reverse operation in string. So before moving to that, there's a mistake here. The syntax is string, whatever the name of the string is, and there will be double colon and then -1. Okay. So, okay. Before moving to the reverse operation, I would like to explain something about the range. Okay. Whenever we define this range, so basically we have the syntax is something like this. Okay. Here we define the lower limit. Here we define the upper limit up to which we need to go. And this is the step count. Okay. Now, what is the step count? It means that, like suppose if I'm in zeroth index, now after how many gap I need to go, like what will the step count to move further? Like suppose 1, 2, 3. If the step count is 1, then I will move here. If the step count is 2, then from 0, I will go to 2. Okay. If the step count is 3, then from 0, I will go to 3. Then likewise, from 3, I will go to 6. So that's what step count is. Okay. So to define a range, although we don't always define this, it is like for if we don't define this, it is taken as 1. Okay. So, but if you want to explicitly define this, then you need to add one more colon and then you need to define that. Okay. Now, and if you don't define that, then it will automatically take it as 1. Okay. So that's how a range is defined. And now, what is the format to print it? Okay. Like if I write like this, okay. If I write like this, so it takes the value as the lower limit as 0 and whatever the size of the string is till n, and then it will automatically take this value or the step count as 1. Okay. So this is how it works. Like if I have a string, suppose a equal to Floxus. Okay. I have this. If I write only a and then colon, double colon, okay, I don't write any value here. I don't define any value here. I don't define the lower limit or upper limit or step count. Okay. So it will automatically take the lower limit as 0. Then I have how many characters? Like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6. And then here the step count will be taken as 1 and it will print this Floxus. Okay. This whole string will be printed. But what I want is that I want to reverse it. Okay. What I want reverse direction plus I want to step back. Okay. I need to start from here and I want to step back. Why? Because I want to reverse the string. So for that, what you can do, you don't have to define the lower limit or upper limit. You just write the step count as -1. It will automatically take here the value will be n minus 1. It will start from n minus 1. It will go till 0 and then the step count will be -1. That is, it will go backward. Okay. That's why we are using -1 here. So sometimes it has been asked that why this format has been used. It's simple that what happens if you don't define the, you can even define this, you can even define the lower limit and upper limit, but if you don't define, then it automatically takes the value here as the upper limit, whatever the upper limit is, like n minus 1. Okay. And then it will go till the lower value and then yeah, it will go backward direction, and that too with -1 value. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you all what is this operation all about. When it will be more clear when we will code it. Okay. So let's just code this. Okay. So now here we are with a string that is, suppose I have declared a string that is a equal to Floxus, and the string has been declared. Now what I will do, I will first perform slicing here. Okay, so we know that we have to define range in three steps, that are, or we need to define three things to define a range. That is, first we need to define the lower limit, upper limit, and then the step count. Okay, so we don't define if we don't define this, then it will automatically take the value as like the lower limit will be taken here, then upper limit will be taken in the upper limit, and then the step count will be automatically be taken as 1. Okay, so that's what how slicing works. So like suppose if I write 1 and then I have 2, so, or you can say, suppose I take 6 or 4. Okay, so like, yeah. Now if sorry, I have not written the print function, so I need to write print here. I need to print something. Yeah, now we will run it and we have LOX. So here you can see first index, second and third index characters, or the string has been sliced and it has been printed. That's how slicing has been done. Now next I'm going to tell you all about updation. Okay, now how can we update the value? Okay, now if I have, suppose I will take the index as, or you can say just 3. Okay, taking the range and then updating the value as ABC, taking another string suppose, and then now what will happen, it will first take the this range of value. Okay, it will first slice it, and then this ABC value will be added to it. Okay, so you can see I have taken the first index value, second index value, and then ABC has been added to it. Okay, that's called updation, updating this string with this. Okay, now next we have concatenation. Concatenation is same way, like I have one string that is A, and now I want to add this another string with it. Okay, to add two strings we use concatenation. So you can see these two strings has been added. Next we have what, we were having membership operation. Okay, so yeah, so how do we do that? So yeah, that is in and not in. So if I write like this, if I have, suppose U, okay, in A. Okay, if I write like this, okay, then print, sorry, print true. Now here you can see, yes, it is. So it has printed true. But if I write, suppose I, okay, and it is not there, so it will not print anything. Okay, so you can see nothing has been printed. You can even add else condition here. So that's what membership operator works. Next we are going to see about the reversing a string. Okay, now if I have print A, and then we know that how do we define the range, lower limit, upper limit, and then step count. What we will do for reversing, we just define the step count as -1. We don't have to define the lower limit and upper limit. As we define the step count as -1, what it will do, it will automatically take the upper limit as here. Okay, upper limit value will be taken here, then lower limit will be taken here, that is in place of upper limit value, and this -1 will work to take the step count in the backward direction. Okay, so you can check here how it works. So here you can see it has reversed this string. Okay, so this is how it is working. Okay, one more operation is there, that is repetition. How do we print that? Okay, suppose I want to print this like this string 11 times. Okay, so what I will do, I will just multiply it with 11 and you can see Fluxus has been printed 11 times. Okay. Or yeah, so this is how it works. This is all about the operations that we see in string, and I hope now you're familiar with this. You can even explore more, you can code more. There are so many inbuilt functions that are is upper, is lower. You can go and explore more about it. So I guess that those functions are very easy. Even by just knowing the name, you can understand, by just reading the name you can understand what is the function of that. Like, is upper checks whether the string is in uppercase, uh, then is lower checks whether it is in lowercase character or not. So that's simple ones, you can just go and explore more. Next we are going to see about number. Now we are going to see about numbers. So basically there are three numeric types in Python. So we have also seen all these things about in data types in our first video, I guess, where we have discussed about variables. There we have also discussed about the data types. And inside numbers, like we have three, basically three types of numbers are there, that are integer, float and complex type. Okay, integer as the like in just the same way in mathematics we have, it's the same way like that. And all the negative and positive value including zero is it comes under integer. Then float is basically the decimal kind of value, it is decimal values. Okay, then complex is the value that is the combination of imaginary and real value. So here you can see this is the example, that is z equal to 2 plus 1 j. Now here this is the real value and this is the imaginary part. Okay, so that's all. We have total three types of numeric types. Okay, numeric values. Okay, next, type conversion. So basically type conversion, it is also known as to, like, suppose if I have a variable that is integer type. Okay, it is integer type. Now I need to typecast this variable to float. Okay, I need to explicitly change this. Okay, like suppose I have a equal to 5. Now if I write float and then bracket, and then if I write like this equal to, then what will happen, this 5 will be changed to 5.0. What does that mean? This means that now this the class, it was under integer type, it was integer type of value, but now it is float type. Okay, that's called type conversion, that is converting one data type to another. Okay, so also we can also change it to complex, just the same way like that. We can write complex and then whatever the variable is. So here you can see, you can check out here, that is x is equal to int, and then we have defined we the value that is 1. Okay, we know that, we already know that it is integer type. Then also we have float type of value. Now this is what, this is float type of value, but what we are doing, we are converting it explicitly to integer, that is called type conversion. So what will be the output, it will be 2. Okay, then what is happening, this is string type of value, but what we are doing, we are converting it into integer type. Here you can see this is under double quotes, so it will be converted to 3. Okay, the output will be, or it will come under the class that is 3. Next here you can see it is integer type. This is float type, this is complex type with no real value. Okay, now convert int to float, simply just write the float and then under bracket, inside bracket you need to write the variable x. Okay, then y, then complex, you can just print it out and just check out. Now this type, print type and then a, what will be printed, it will show you the class. Okay, under which class it is. Like if it was earlier, suppose x is under integer class, now after this a will be under float class. Okay, now you can understand how it is being converted. Okay, so explore more. This is very easy. This is like you need to understand the concept to to actually explore more, or to get the in-depth knowledge of what is happening in the backend, how the type conversion happens. Okay, so by this we come to the end of video. Thank you.